It's Monday, so that means The Oval is brand new with hot topics, entertainment news, and a special guest. With a table of diverse, young, SUNY Oneonta students, The Oval always brings you controversial perspectives. Get ready to hear Oval opinions from our hosts, Marleny Ramirez, Terrell Rose, Sean Miller, Bhanu Gaur, Ruth Benitez, and Asia Garris.
Hello and welcome to The Oval. We're very excited to talk about a few topics that have made recent headlines. Tonight we will discuss the death of Winnie Mandela and modern-day activism, the Sinclair broadcast group making dozens of local news anchors recite the same script, and teachers going on strike and protesting in Oklahoma and Kentucky. We will also be welcoming Patty Leiva, who is an advisor for the College Assistance Migrant Program at SUNY Oneonta, and our discussion will then be followed by a greatly anticipated performance by Muddled Waters. So let's get started.
Sounds exciting.
It is exciting.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
So the death of Winnie Mandela, not so exciting. She died at 81, and this was a very, very, like a huge figure in South Africa.
She was married to Nelson Mandela for 27 years, and she originally joined the social justice movement in the 1950s as she started her career as a hospital social worker and then later became a deputy as a minister of arts for numerous South African programs during the fight for apartheid to end it.
So you mentioned she was married to Nelson Mandela, hence the last name. I know it's a very popular one. And although this is very sad, we just have to recognize all that she's done.
She's done a lot.
Legendary.
Yeah, she was legendary, a legendary woman, and I don't think a lot of people have recognized that. A lot of people didn't even know who she was.
I haven't been educated on it. That's the thing. People our age. I mean, yeah.
It was kind of like I heard about the news and I said, well, I didn't, and it said she was campaigning basically on Nelson Mandela's behalf while he was in prison because he was to the South African government he was a terrorist, and so he was put in jail. So she was kind of the forefront in that sense, where she was still going on with the campaigns for to end apartheid and stuff.
His legacy, basically,
legacy around, and
she raised
he
two
gets a lot
daughters
of the
alone.
credit though. Still, once he became president, eventually after apartheid end, and like I said though, I would have never have known this name until today.
I would have never known that either, because I personally only heard the name Nelson Mandela in school. I didn't learn about her at all.
Yeah.
And she did so much. I mean, I know she was incarcerated in 1958, probably a couple more times too. She was in solitary confinement for 18 months. She said in her autobiography she became delirious. She was being fed food that was not even edible. It had bird droppings, everything. And
I mean, there's a lot of torture that happened with her. I think one of the biggest things we really need to be acknowledging is that when the Nobel Peace Prize was given to Mandela, it was not acknowledged that she was part of it. She's the one that did how many years? 27 years supporting this man. So what is the idea? They say behind every great man, right? The idea is a great man, it's a great woman, but it really should be both people in the front.
Oh yeah.
It was a
because she
powerful
essentially
union,
worked alongside him. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a joint effort, and I think everyone in South Africa and internationally really has to recognize that.
Yeah, and appreciate her efforts, of course.
She got to be recognized for her strength, because she raised two daughters. She was under surveillance by the government. She was incarcerated a number of times, and to do that, raise a child and push a movement, that's unheard of. Not a lot of people can do that. So big ups to her and a big thank you to her.
And in terms of modern day activism, what do you think this moment really, what does it say about future, the youth really?
They got to replace it.
I mean, it's got to say more than just that. Sorry to interrupt you. But it's the idea that we are in a different time, and you guys, instead of seeing it as there's a death and it's sad and we've lost something, we really regained something, and now it's something huge, and we really need to move forward. There's no reason to stop. This is what should drive us. This is what should push us. And I think the younger generation, like you guys and younger, are the ones that are really doing that and take that as the activism that you need as a strength.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself, but we have to take a short break, and after the break, we're going to talk about the Sinclair broadcast group, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Green Room. I'm Megan, and this is Muddled Waters. So, question number 1, what are you performing tonight?
They're 2 untitled tracks, just songs I came up with spur of the moment. You know, just like the beats were nice, and then we just like wrote about like my story, my life, you know.
That's awesome. How long did it take to write these? Was it like a overtime period or?
Yeah, it was like over a long time period, cause like probably like months, cause I had like the tracks, just like the instrumentals, like listening to them, and then I get periods where like stuff comes to me, and then like other times where like, you know, everything's just dry. So
Yeah.
it took a while to like write both of them.
Yeah, and what are they about?
There's not like one specific theme. It's kind of just like stories that like and thoughts that like run through my mind, and then we just like, well, I say we, but it's just like I just like try to put them in like a rhyme format, and that's pretty much it. They're about a lot of different topics. Most of those tracks just kind of have to do with like some type of like mental health issue, mostly like depression, and just like anxiety and dealing with like, I don't know, like relationships and stuff like that. But then at the same time, it's kind of just like hopes and prospects that like one has, because you know, like we're still human.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Muddled Waters, and now back to the Oval.
Welcome back. We're moving on to the Sinclair Broadcast Group, which owns 193 television stations in the United States. So that being said, we got wind that TV anchors, news anchors, were forced to read the same exact scripts across dozens of channels.
Well, you can't be creative and do something new. It's sad.
Okay, but when you first watch, okay, it looks creepy when they're all together, but individually, personally, even as someone who doesn't necessarily agree that they were all kind of forced to read this,
Right.
I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty right.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean that you don't agree that they were forced to read this?
Like, Sinclair controlled all these stations, right, and had them all read this in a very, I'm going to say this wrong, propagandic way.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
okay. That's good. You're
Okay,
good.
cool.
I'm rolling with
Okay.
it.
I did it.
Yeah.
Well, why could they have changed up some of the words at least? You own all
No,
these
well,
stations.
I don't think that's the issue. I
Yeah,
think
that's
what's
not- yeah.
And
problematic
you
is that they were forced to do it.
Yeah, there was no choice, right? So imagine that maybe 2 or 5 of them were like, oh no, I don't want to read this. It's against what I believe in. Were they fired? Do we know what happened to them? Do we know that if people were chosen
They were
not to
probably
do it?
scared they would have lost their job,
And then now
honestly.
do we believe these people now that they've said the same thing? Because the whole idea is like you're just repeating things out of something, even though he owns all these places, but that just becomes monopoly, and it is propaganda
It is.
based
Yeah,
on the
that's-
fact that he's a
that's why
conservative.
I don't think we
It's
should
really
trust
bad.
them because like they've recently acquired the Tribune Company, another media company, and it was a $3.9 billion supposed
Well, they're waiting.
acquisition.
Well, no,
that's
they're
going on.
waiting.
Yeah,
They haven't yet, but it's in the works.
It's in the
Well,
works, but there's no
but
guarantee.
because of this right now,
Right.
they're gonna have to wait until the dust settles.
The
until they
federal
can actually-
government is not okay right now. They don't want to do it.
Maybe that's good, 'cause
And
then they
actually,
would've
he
done
kind
it.
of screwed himself on this one.
Yeah, because now this makes
Yes,
us
it
go
is.
back in question. When if this didn't happen this instant, they probably would have just acquired all this, and they would have had even more control over the
So really,
media
who's done
landscape.
here?
So
Yeah.
did you say
Yeah.
that if they had acquired,
Tribune Media.
yeah, they would be they would have 70% more.
More, they would reach
Of what we
70
view.
yeah,
Yeah.
70% more of American household television, and they already have so much
Yeah.
push
Yeah.
in media.
So
They control the info.
So can we say that some other television companies can start suing them if they can? Because if you
I don't know.
monopolize this, that means you can, like, from the president, and we can see the president has some ties. He's backing them
Yeah.
up, even though they've done something like horribly wrong.
Yeah.
We can see that he's going to use that to push his own ideals right into our television screens. So it's like he's not against it.
But also, but they were, what they said was no fake news, right? They like are against it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And Trump defended him and agreed with Sinclair with what he said, but also Trump has been spreading fake news all the time. So
Yeah,
wouldn't it go
it's-
against what
it's
Sinclair
this
just made all these
whole like back and forth.
Yeah.
And the thing with Sinclair is I don't necessarily say it's not to say, oh, these people were given the same script and it's like a completely bad thing, because people use scripts all the time. What's maybe troublesome is that you start to erase the idea of maybe the individuality or something about local news stations. These are things which you think are local. The point of it is they're not, off of one whole script, or they're not off of the same thing across the nation, So it's something where it's like a trust issue too. Is this, how much do
But
you want to rely on these?
Here's the
TV
thing with
stations?
all of this. We've also seen all over Twitter and all the different senators, a lot of Republicans were saying this is outrageous, this is not really good. I mean, Dan Rather himself said this is not journalism. This is not what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Like, it's a free country, right? We should be able to do all the stuff. They could have gone either way with this script. So we could go the other side and say, hey, you know, they're just doing their job. You're right. And they're saying don't do this fake news. But now what's the aftermath of this? What are they going to do? Are they going to really be good and not do the fake news? Because that's what we get most of the time.
Well, because this happened a month ago. This happened last month, and we're only really learning about it now.
They probably tried to cover it up in that month time.
There have been CNN reports that a lot of people were uncomfortable with saying this speech, but what's going to happen? Like you said, what's going to happen now? Are they going to stop doing that? Or
I agree with you two though, because I was going to say before, like it's sad because it really disrupts like free press and like the art of journalism. Because if you're being told what to do, it's like you're just like a human. You're basically just being like you're not able to.
You're like a robot. You're a robot.
You're not putting. The art of journalism is disrupted by that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if this didn't happen, this instant, then maybe it would have kept it going the way it is because it was working. Like why fix it if it ain't broke? You know.
I completely agree.
And now it's broke a little bit.
It broke a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that. But we're going to take another quick break, and we will be right back.
And we're back in the green room with Muddled Waters. So question 2, what is your relationship between mental health and rapping?
I mean, mental health is just something that like I've had to deal with for like a large section of my life. So ignoring depression would be like ignoring like this large portion of my life.
Yeah.
So I had to just like keep it real and just talk about like how like a person feels, like how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't say like I'm an advocate for like mental health, but like seek a therapist.
I think anybody who's dealt with mental health has something to say about it. I think I really commend you for coming out of your shell a little bit and doing that.
Yeah, and like the raps, like I wouldn't say that's like why I like rap or like why I started rapping, but they help. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they help like trying to like process your thoughts and organize them. And
it's
see,
like writing down in a journal, but you get to work with a little more. That's really great. I really commend you for writing about this topic. I personally don't think that mental health is talked about enough.
Definitely.
That conversation always really needs to be growing, and I really commend you for adding to that conversation.
Right. Thanks.
Stay tuned for more of The Oval.
We're back and we're ready to talk about the teachers who are going on strike and protesting in Kentucky and Oklahoma. So this has been happening in actually a lot of different states. I know it happened in West Virginia, in Jersey, and Oklahoma and Kentucky, and Arizona is even thinking about joining in on like this wave of protests. So essentially these teachers want benefits, higher salary, and a lot of things that there was a new bill passed in Kentucky that kind of stripped them away of the benefits that they would have had before. What do we think about this?
The teachers should get the money, definitely, not just for themselves, not just for their own gain, but also for their classrooms gain, for their students, for the things that they can do in their classrooms. It's one thing to take away money from one person. It's so much more to take money away from hundreds of people all at once.
Yeah. And it's a fight for education. So this is really teachers and children, like students really. But a lot of people are concerned that while these protests are going on, their children, obviously these schools are being closed down because they can't function with teachers not showing up or not enough teachers are showing,
I think that it's really important that if the parents and the community are right behind them, then they can support that. So if the kids aren't going to school, hopefully the parents are supporting it. I think that they'll get further. Otherwise, we're just like, we're not supporting our education, right? We want our children to have education, but we don't support our teachers. And so therefore, it just creates a problem as a cycle.
For the parents who are complaining about their children not being in school, what about the schools that are underfunded? One of the protesters saw a picture. It says, "No funding, no future." If you can't fund a school and give the students the stuff that they need to learn, how can they be successful in college? How can they be successful in a higher institution? Like, we can't do that. And also, there's teachers taking money out of their own pockets. Like, I know teachers in the city that take money out of their own pockets just to get crayons for their for their kids, crafts tools for their kids because the school isn't funding them. So if teachers don't stand up now, we're going to see in the future, like, our children aren't going to be prepared for whatever life has for them.
It all starts with the teachers.
It's already happening, though.
I feel like, it all starts with the teachers, because if you don't, because teaching, it's like a lot of people who do it, they really, like my mom's a teacher, for instance, and she really was passionate about, like, helping mold young minds, as a lot of these teachers are, because you don't just, like, you have to care for numerous kids throughout the day. It's like, and even in Kentucky, you get the average teaching salary is $52K, and in Oklahoma it's $45K, where in states like New York it could be anywhere from $75 to $100. And if teachers aren't properly compensated, then that means that you're raising a generation of ignorant Americans where they may vote for someone like Donald Trump again in the near future. And so it already started.
Listen,
so I think that,
did you just say 75,000? I should change my job because I don't make 75,000.
Well, yeah, in New York, New York is one of the strongest states in terms of teaching. It has like one of the strongest unions for teachers.
You're right.
Yeah,
the United Federation of Teachers.
In Oklahoma and Kentucky, they were talking how the unions had become super weak. So now they want to have their raise increased by 16%. That way they get $6,000 more a year, right, if they're making $45,000. And I think that's awesome, but also we have to talk about how a lot of these states are primarily white states and
the red states,
red states.
Let's challenge that idea. I mean, take, for example, we were just having this discussion earlier.
Yeah.
I said, well, all these states, like you said, they're white. So if this had happened with, a place in New York City where predominantly it's the people of color, had they fought, would they have been shut down? I mean, it's time and time again that we have those problems. So if we can use our privilege, right, our white people use our privilege to then help our students of color or the teachers of color, then we'll be able to see a lot more growth. That's where privilege comes, but at the same time, when does it not become equal for everybody? Because it's not equity, obviously. So.
I think that that's a very important point, and it comes into play. They have those districts that have more minorities have more to lose. So people with privilege have to stand up and help the cause. But we have to take another quick break, unfortunately, and we will be right back.
Do you think that in SUNY Oneonta, the content that is produced is a little too similar?
At times, yeah. I feel like there are certain points where similar themes are being used, and there isn't like a lot of like progression and experimentalism, if that's like the proper word. But I feel like there's a lot of potential to be touched, and they just have to realize that. And some of those people are realizing it,
No, and I think it's definitely a hard thing to come out of one's shell and talk about things you're not so comfortable with. So like I said before, I really commend you for taking that leap of faith and showing that. So what do you hope for the future generation of SUNY Oneonta rappers and musicians?
Just cooler stuff. Cooler sounds, cooler, I wouldn't say people, but just like
more variety.
Not even that, just like aliases. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's a difference between like Muddled Waters and like Kevin Torres. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
So
you want to experiment with more stage names and more stage personalities and figure yourself out that way?
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Well, thank you so much for being with us in the green room. Thanks. And we wish you an awesome performance tonight in the Oval.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and we're here with our entertainment host, Asia, bringing us our Monday Tea special. So let's hear it.
Okay, so this Easter turns out to be a rumble at Six Flags when Blac Chyna, Ross Kardashian baby mother, got into a fight with an unidentified lady. Reports don't say how the fight occurred, but Blac Chyna did take it to Instagram where she shared her opinions that she's not a violent person, but once hands are like put on her child, it's a problem. I don't know much to say about that, but the Kardashians do say that they're not surprised by her actions. And if you guys do kind of know about Blac Chyna, you gotta see what type of lighting that she's in. She's not in such a positive light. So I just want to know, like, why do you think like she is still relevant? Like, I understand.
Well, first of all, did you see the video?
Yes, did you see the
Because
video?
she full on
I did
grabbed
not
her
see
She
that.
grabbed
daughter's
her daughter's
little car, like you know those little
Yeah.
cars that they like the pink
The
cute
ones that
cars
you,
that
like,
they
push
drive.
them and they
She
think
was
they
ready to
driving.
throw that thing.
like swing it at somebody.
That's child abuse.
Chuck it at somebody's
And her
head.
new boyfriend is 18, mind you. She's like 30 something, almost maybe.
Wait, we can't say nothing about that because everybody had a problem with Beyonce and Jay-Z, so we can't. We gotta let it rock. If we let that rock, we gotta let this
But you
rock.
see what type of person Blac Chyna is? She used Rob Kardashian for a whole new body.
Oh, of course.
She had a sex tape come out recently.
Ooh.
Her body looks absolutely disgusting.
Ooh.
I really got to find out who this is.
Oh man. Look, I know.
I don't know
look,
what she is.
She looks bad for business.
All right.
And she's a Taurus, and that's what's getting me tight.
Oh,
because
no.
I'm a Taurus.
I'm a
too.
Taurus too. They're speaking
I am
bad
not a
on our
Taurus,
name.
but I'm just saying.
Wow.
It's not good.
So this is.
I don't know. Not you.
Oh.
Her. Girl,
Look,
I
Blac
love all
Chyna,
horoscopes.
We love you.
Tell Blac
Don't lie.
Chyna something.
Don't lie.
I don't love Blac Chyna,
Okay,
but tell her
Blac Chyna-
something.
Her birthday
Today.
is
You had a moment.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. I
Okay,
still don't
so-
understand.
All
what
right,
this person is.
anyways.
Speaking of violence,
Oh, great.
yeah, speaking of violence, right?
Yay.
Rapper Fabulous.
Not
whose
so
real name
fabulous.
is-
Not so
exactly.
fabulous.
Whose name is actually John Jackson, was arrested over the weekend for allegedly punching his on and off again girlfriend Emily, resulting to her losing her 2 front teeth.
Oof.
All right. So basically, what happened? This story has happened before. I mean, not before, but
We've seen it before
we've
with
seen it
different
before.
people.
Exactly. In March, he was upset with her prior because she had went to LA and he didn't know about it. He found out over Instagram.
So he's possessive.
Exactly. So basically, there's many parts to this story.
But really, at the end of the day, he shouldn't be putting his hands on
Yeah,
anybody.
right.
Possessive, abusive, throw that whole man away.
Wait.
I
I'm not.
feel like
You
if
cannot
any man
do
can put his
anything,
hands on you at any circumstances, is a coward. Like, I don't care what the situation is.
Please tell us what you think.
Look, I'm
I
not
love to
saying
hear
he's
it.
right. I'm not
Right.
saying he's right at all. I will never put my hands on a woman. I will never put my hands on a woman.
Right.
But he had a right to be angry because the inside. Wait. Before y'all jump on me,
Who MCM is this? Because it ain't mine.
nobody's. Look, her father stole $50,000. I mean, $500,000 from him.
Oh, so
he-
that makes it okay for him to hit
Yeah.
her.
No,
Yeah, let me knock your
doesn't.
teeth out 'cause you took my money.
No, I meant
Like-
he should be upset, but don't hit a woman.
Okay,
he
there we
should
go.
be upset.
He has the right to express his feelings without having to
Yeah,
physically put his
physically.
hands on
Yeah.
her.
No.
Yeah.
He's trash. No excuse. That's it.
First of all, he been doing her dirty for mad long. Like,
It doesn't matter if a man or a woman do it, it's still both wrong.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's okay, I got you, babe.
Thank you.
I really wish we could continue talking about this, but that's all the time we have for entertainment news. Thank you, Asia. And after the break, Muddled Waters will be performing, so stay tuned.
Call me Mr. Lazy, don't nothing faze me. Weed up in my lungs, so my memory is hazy. But now I know who you are, but I'ma act like you're crazy. I'ma ignore my problems till they forget that I wonder why we all live just to die. She said there is a lesson, I told her what if you lied. She looked away and she ignored my mean plea. 3-hour ride, so you know I'm holding in my pee. It's really difficult to aim when you're inside a moving bus. These other people live their city as if it was a bust. She's kissing on my neck while I'm just feeling on her bust. She's telling me she loves me, but I don't think I can trust. She wants me to reply, but the words I keep to myself. I left all of my feelings sitting up on the shelf. No rest for the wicked and no mercy for the chickens. Stick with me for a bit and you'll see the plot. Thinking in the town called Lincoln, sitting slouchy in the back. My hands on her legs and her legs on my lap. She's tired of the games, yeah, she comes right back. It's scary to know when you got it like that. I'm alone in the park, I like the quiet after dark. These people try too hard, there's no swag in Clarks. Back in the street, murky tracks on repeat. White Nike Air Force Ones on her feet. They say I keep it low, but it's so discreet. The only one I trust secrets with is me. I've been locked in my room just writing some raps. So don't be alarmed when I make a comeback. This is practice. So much has happened to me since my last track. Always fight the feeling that I wanna go back. People never really feel me, that's a hard fact. Get tired of the old things, I don't want that. I never seem to get the right moment. Sometimes I wanna say things, but then I hold it. Sometimes I got the ideas, but then I fold it. And then I wanna act like I don't give a. Sitting on the couch trying to focus on the telly. 7 women in my life, nobody at the celly. Got my eyes open looking for my Adicelli. Yeah. Too focused on my life in the work sense. Scared of no life in the personal tense. Got my eyes shut cause my neck feeling tense. Ex never loved me so excuse the defense. Nighttime got emotions feeling by the many. Just might go by permit for the semi. I see it in your eyes, all the things you wanna tell me. I see it in your eyes, all the things you wanna tell me. Trapped in my mind on my default settings. That's why I don't care that you wore my favorite leggings. That's why I don't care that you're moving at the dwelling. That's why I don't care cause I That's why I don't care cause I ain't got feelings. Alone in my mind, like most of the time. Alone in my mind, like most of the time, most of the time.
That was an amazing performance.
Thanks.
Do you want to say your Instagram, any SoundCloud information you want to promote?
Yeah, you can find me anywhere. Just type in Muddled Waters. It doesn't matter. SoundCloud, Bandcamp, it don't matter. Muddled Waters.
Muddled Waters. Follow him. That's all the time we have tonight. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at The Oval TV, and we will see you next week. Good night.